Okay, we should be good now. I don't know why that didn't work. Try to get some background music, then we gonna start. Just some, just some cool old background music. How y'all doing? I see two of y'all done popped in here already. We getting ready to get started. This is gonna be a real good episode too. Let's see. No copyright reading music. There we go. Like we just need something just chill to. We don't need nothing extreme. Come on, YouTube, answer my prayers. What we got? Think this good on here. Okay, that should be loud enough. I don't want that getting caught in the microphone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what is... Really? It froze? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what is up? ADS Play 101 here, and welcome to the returning Anime Live Chat Podcast episode, October 1st, 2023 edition. First off, I have to apologize to many of you guys who was looking forward to the Anime Live Chat Podcast being a weekly occurrence, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, I had to step back away from doing podcasts, and it slowed down other content as well. But I'm back. Things are somewhat getting back to normal, and we're back with a very exciting episode because you guys are not going to want to miss this. First off, as you see over here to your left, but to my right because I got the camera flipped. You see the agenda that we have for this episode today. As many of you anime watchers out there who sometimes may be having an issue with finding, new animes to watch and things like that, I have a segment where we will be showing new animes to watch. I'm not going to go into big detail about them. I'm just going to show you the picture and name drop them, and we're going to move on. So if you're looking for some animes, these are some suggestions that you might like. So check them out, and tell me what you think. Next up, we're going to be reviewing the Thousand Year Blood War Part 2 Separation and going over some of the changes that they did in the manga from, let me see, chapter 546. Almost lost my place as to what chapter it was on because I had it bookmarked. I had to check it. But we're going to be going over the Thousand Year Blood War Part 2, doing a review of it, and going over the changes that they made from chapter 546 to 609. They compressed a lot of content in 13 episodes from 63 pages of manga. So 63 chapters. It's about 63 chapters. Forgive me if I got a couple numbers wrong, but yeah. And next, we're going to be talking about the Echoing Jaws of Hell arc, or the Howling Jaws of Hell arc, and the changes that are coming in the next arc after the Thousand Year Blood War is over. And not only that, but we're going to be doing a live reading of the one-off manga, No Breaths of Hell, which is the first step into the Howling Jaws of Hell arc. And I know I might as well change this now Hey, look, players fuck up too. Players mess up too. Excuse me, excuse my French. Howling Jaws of Hell art. There we go. And we're going to be doing a live reading of that manga. Now, I did go ahead and read it ahead of time, so it's not, anything. It's not anything that I wouldn't, I already know what's going on, but I'm still going to read it live for you guys so that you guys can see the surprises. And when I tell you there are some things that's happening in this book that you are going to want to, that you just know you're not going to want to miss this segment at all. So first things first, we have to get into the anime. So first and foremost, let me get some of these pictures up. Okay, so first things first, moving on to the new anime announcements. So animes that you guys may have been looking for or animes that you may be interested in. These are some suggestions. Take them, watch them, and check them out. So the first anime I have is a sports themed anime about racing called Overtake. Really good. Check it out. Tell me what you think. The next anime is called Shangri-La Frontier. Check it out. It's a real action-based anime. Real good. Fantasy. All that good stuff. Check it out. Trust me, you won't be sorry. Next up, we got another new anime. It is called Ragna Crimson. This is another good one so far. Most of these animes that I'm showing obviously only have one episode because they're just getting started. But check them out because from what I'm seeing, it's going to be impressive. So check it out. After that, we have Berserk of Gluttony. Gotta move out the way right there. There you go. Berserk of Gluttony. It somewhat reminds me of like a mixture between Sword Art Online and I'm trying to think of another anime that was similar to it. I want to say maybe Code Geass, just aesthetically, but you guys see what I mean. But yeah, check out Berserk of Gluttony. Berserk of Gluttony. It's so far so good. First episode was real good, so check it out. And next up and is the final anime on this list for the new anime to watch. It's called Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Magical anime, fantasy, really good. Check it out. And there's already, I think, like 5 episodes out right now. So go and give it a look. Okay, so now that we got all of that out the way, right? And if you're watching this live, I was pausing the recording. But now we can move on to the Thousand Year Blood War segment, part 2, Separation. Now, again, Separation was. Hold up. Okay. Hold on. I had to start and stop the recording. My bad. I do apologize. Let me get that. I think the first one was messed up. Yep. Alright. That was one segment. Okay, here we go. Getting ready to start. Okay, so the Thousand Year Blood War Part 2 separation was taking mangas 546 through 609, and it compressed 63 chapters of material into 13 episodes. Now, in the main focus of this season of the Thousand Year Blood War was to basically get Ishida introduced into the Wandenreich, join Yuha's ranks, introduce not introduce, but show off the fighting abilities of the Zero Squad, and also show Ichigo's growth, as well as Renji's and Rukia's getting more familiar with more so of the Stern Ritters like Superstar Master Masculine, Fear Adsnot, and a few other surprises that they had. Now, when I was originally doing these reviews, or episode by episode, I stopped right before the Grimmy and the Kenpachi Zaraki fight, which was really good animated. It was really good. I mean, it was really good. So if you guys ever get a chance to go back and watch that, that was one of the best fights during the Thousand Year Blood War Part 2. So going over the Thousand Year Blood War Part 2, it began with, I need to get the window up real quick. Let me see if I can close this and close this. I think I should be good. Where's the window capture at? Tell me I'm good. Okay. Ooh. Alright, got it in the background. Yes. Alright, so when the Thousand Year Blood War Part 2 starts off, it begins with manga chapter 546. And this is when Shinsui actually goes to Ichigo's friends to basically let him know that they are planning to make him the next Soul King. The Soul King in the Soul Society, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a being that basically controls the influx of souls between three different worlds, being Mundo, which is basically like Limbo, more or less, the Serite, or the Soul Society, and Earth. Those are the three places that the Soul King kind of controls the influx to balance it out. If too much of one place gets an influx of too many souls, or basically put, if too many people die and more souls transfer over to another area than the flow can handle, then basically the three worlds can collapse and a bunch of nonsense can happen. The Soul King's sole purpose is to basically control how many souls flow into each world, so they can maintain a balance. And Shinsui went to Ichigo's three high school friends and basically told them that, Ichigo is in a fight right now. He won't be coming back. There's a high possibility he won't be coming back. And on top of that, they plan on making him the next Soul King. In that he did give them some tickets to travel to Soul Society, so that they can visit him, whenever they pretty much please. But Shinsui had to let him know, look, Ichigo was one of the few people in existence that can control Hollow powers, Quincy powers, Soul Reaper powers, Fullbring powers. He's the perfect candidate to become the next Soul King. And because of the importance of that role, they just can't allow him to leave. So it's a very grim situation, to where they have to keep up their roles as captain and as captains of the 13 Goten, and the Zero Division, same thing with them. But they have to put somebody in place that can handle that pressure, that handle that task. And Ichigo is the only one that can replace the Soul King should something happen to him. So Shinsuke just went to him, told him, hey, look, this is what it is. I know you guys are going to miss him. Here's some tickets to let you going back to Force the Soul Society as you please so you can see him. But there's a chance that he will not be able to come back. You know, even though he says right here, eventually Ichigo returns, I'll tell him to come back here. I tell him to spend some time here until the battle starts, you know, so just preparing him. But they didn't want him to leave. So, and another thing, I'm going to try not to get too far ahead. I'm going to try to keep it within the 63 chapters. I mean, I am going to skip some because I don't want this to be like forever in a day. But I am going to go over some of the key points that they did, because they did mention some things. So, Uryu, he is with, like I mentioned, he is with Yuha. And this ended actually right at the time he took the ritual of drinking Yuha's blood in order to earn a script in some of his power. So, the name of this chapter is actually called 9 Days. Let me see. The Last 9 Days. And that is actually the name of the first episode in part 2. Now, they do in the later episodes of the 1,000-Year Blood War, they take some, they use names. Normally, the name of the episodes would be named after a chapter. But later on in part 2, that's not the case, and you're going to see, and some of y'all probably can catch on later on down the line. Let's see, let me click back on this. So going up to, let me see, the Thin Ice, I believe this is when Basby was going up against Toshiro. Yep, this is it. So in this fight, Basby and Toshiro was going together head to head, going at it head to head, and I believe this was at the time when, this is before Toshiro got his Bankai back, if I'm not mistaken, because Kisuke Urahara, he created a pill which temporarily hollowified the reishi of Soul Reapers. So here's the thing about Quincy's. Quincy's are fighters that absorb reishi. However, hollow reishi is poison to them, and if they intake too much of that, it can kill them. It weakens them. So anything related to hollows is a negative for Quincy, so they can't deal with that. So so during part 1 of the 1,000-Year Blood War, referring to the manga, the anime, the Quincy's, they had these medallions, these star medallions that are silver medallions, and they used them to basically steal the Bankais of the Soul Reaper that they're fighting against, and it basically allows them to use it at their leisure. And even though it won't be as powerful as when the Soul Reapers have it, they're still able to use it, even though it won't be as full strength. So they can basically sap their powers, and it's kind of like it's almost like a double-edged sword, and I'm gonna get into that later. Quincy's can't necessarily be beaten without the use of Bankai, but because the level of strength of the Bankai is what they need. However, they're putting themselves at risk when they do use, I wouldn't say risk, but they lose the ability to go into this form called Vostandig, or the holy form. And that's kind of like their I guess if you would call it like their powered up form, kind of like how the Arankars have their resurrection forms, how the Soul Reapers have Bankai, the Quincy's have Volstandic, and it gives them a certain design of wings. It could be, the wings could be of any design, depending on, you know, whatever. But they grow wings and they get basically like a halo in a sense. So, but as long as they have, as long as they're holding on to a stolen Bankai, they cannot use their Volstandic forms, and that's their more powerful form. So it's almost like they're gaining a power that they're not as strong with in order to weaken the Soul Reaper that they're fighting, but they lose access to their most powerful form when they do that. So they have to, you know, they basically have to know what they're doing. So in this fight, and I believe BG9 was fighting. Yeah, that's BG9. He was fighting Soy Fang, and I forgot this girl's name. I feel so stupid. Not Soy Fang, but old girl, the one who got Ash Cat for her Zanbakuto. And I'm looking at her too. In the midst of me talking, I just forgot it. So y'all gonna have to forgive me or remind me of what the hell I'm dealing with. I'm trying to see if I can find her name in this chapter. I can't think of it. Let me see. I'm doing this live. I'm not perfect. I just can't think of her name at the moment. Like, my mind really went blank. And I feel so dumb. Because I know who that is, too. It's just, trying to remember all these names is not the easiest thing in the world. Let's see. Reaper. Hinako. That's the girl who has the Zanbakuto. Rangiku, that's her name. Rangiku. Toshiro and Rangiku, they kind of use their powers simultaneously to basically create an ice wall to go against Bosby during that fight. And Bosby was kind of kicking their ass. But regardless, let's see. I'm trying to find a chapter that basically was one of the key chapters. And I think this is it. I think Toshiro ended up getting killed, per se. This is when Hashwalt Jugrim appeared in the Squad 1's barracks. He kind of just snuck in there. And this is when they tried to capture Basby. He basically melts the ice and burns Toshiro literally in half. Burns him in half. Slices him. Well, he injures him really bad. Then Kong Du, the one who had took his Bankai, shows up and reminds Basby that they had an agreement amongst the Stern Ritter that the one who took the Bankai of a Soul Reaper has to be the one to kill that Soul Reaper. And since Kong Du was the one who had took Hyorin Maru from Toshiro, he needs to be the one to finish him off. And I believe that it was around this time that Kisuke popped up. I think that showed up at the end down there with the hollow pills. And I think, here we go right here. So the pills right here basically hollowifies the Bankai, because it's still, the Reishi is still connected to that Soul Reaper that it belongs to. So again, remember what I said about the hollow powers or hollow Reishi being poison to Quincy's. They cannot take that without it basically killing them. So if something was able to hollowify the Soul Reaper's Bankai even temporarily, then basically the Quincy's would lose they would lose those stolen Bankais, and they would return to the Soul Reapers that it belonged to. And that's when Kisuke Urahara came up with these pills to temporarily hollowify the Reishi of the Soul Reapers. And as you can see at this ending panel right here, Toshiro touched the pill, and Kongdu basically got injured as Daigen Yorinomaru basically is falling off of his body. And I think in the next chapter, Frozen Cross, and when I tell you, they used up a lot of these chapters in just for one episode. You see right there, he regains Daigen Yorinomaru, and I believe they show his full body. Obviously, Soy Phone's got hers. And they showed off a temporarily. Yeah, here we go. So because of the pill, an interesting effect happened, or at least they only showed it with Toshiro, where that pill that they used, it temporarily hollowified him, and it basically made him a hollow for like a split second. That's the reason why he pretty much has an Arankar mask on, because he's basically a hollow for this moment. So it's an interesting little thing. Now I kind of wish, because even though they did do some things in part 2 of the Thousand Year Blood War animated, they didn't. I wish they would have, that they did some things that weren't in the manga. And I kind of wish they would have kind of took that step with this holification of recapturing the Bankais, where more people, I don't know how they would have did it, but I kind of wish they would have figured something out. You know what I mean? I kind of wish they would have did this with more of the Soul Reapers who regain their Bankais, showing some type of maybe temporary holification during the process of them recapturing them. So another big moment that happened during the Thousand Year Blood War was when they regained when they regained their the Bankais. Again, going back to what I said earlier, when a Quincy has a stolen Bankai, they can't activate their Volstandic. What you're seeing right here is simultaneously several of the Quincy's that are on the battlefield have activated their Volstandic, their holy forms. And they are literally all across the battlefield. The Zero Squad, of course, they're informant Ichigo, who's on his way back to the Serite. He's wearing a garb that Shinjumaru had created for him to help him bypass that barrier that's covering over the Serite to basically prevent certain things from getting in. She created a garb for him so that he can break through that. And they send him on his way. He jumps down. Instead of taking the steps that would have took him 3 days, He informs them that, hey, the battle's been going on for 3 hours now, and he jumps down towards the Serite. And Kisuke is talking to him and basically inform him of everything that was going on, and then he takes off. And as you see, Bambita, who is E, Stern Ritter E, the Explode, she's, you see, I want to say Kurama. Basically, the dog. The dog, Komamura, excuse me, Captain Komamura, and Shinji, who had his moment during the Thousand Year Blood War, animated where they showed off his Bankai. You guys can look that up on YouTube if you want to know more about his Bankai, but just know that his Bankai is very powerful. It's banned by the is banned for being used in a Serite, because it doesn't discriminate about who it affects. So it's really good. So Komamura is in the back, and mind you, he just got back after visiting his elder in his village, or the elder of his clan, excuse me. So he has that, the whole Bombita force, Candace Catnip, Gigi, who's well, that's a dude. Spoiler. And they are getting ready to go to war. I'm trying to find something in particular that did not happen. So, or that the anime didn't do. And I know I'm getting close to it, but Komamura underwent the man beast transformation, or the humanification ability that his clan's secret is, where basically they rip out their heart and they're able to turn into humans momentarily, but there's a side effect to it. When they're like that, they're basically killing themselves. Well, that's the ritual. They basically have to kill themselves in order to become human temporarily. And the side effect from Komamura doing this is that it affected his Bankai, and he was able to activate its other form, what's called Dangai Jo, Kokujo Tengen Mule Dangai Jo, where it casts off its armor and it basically becomes a being that's immune to anything Reishi related, because, well, he's dead. So anything related to Reishi, he's pretty much immune to physical harm. And he uses that ability to beat Bombita. And I'm talking about sliced her, knocked her right out the damn air. Now, the other side effect to the humanification is that when, I guess, after a certain time limit, yes, they get to turn human, but then they permanently turn into the wolf that they originally were. So as you see right here, this is the price that he had to pay for using the ritual for the sake of revenge. And he's basically a wolf now. It's a sad ending to an honorable warrior such as Sajin Komamura, but he literally sold his soul for the sake of revenge, and this is the price he had to pay for it. I think Iba came there to basically carry him and send him off. Now, if for those of you who don't read the light novels, he's not dead. He's literally still alive, but he is living in the countryside some damn where. You know, if they bring him back during the Jaws of Hell arc, which we're going to get into later, then maybe we'll see him again. But as of right now, based on the light novel, I believe it was Can't Fear Your Own World, or maybe Spirits Are Forever With You. They basically said that he's just living in the countryside as a dog. So go figure. So with Bambita being dead, Gigi and the rest of the whole Bambita squad, or whatever the hell they call themselves, appear. And Gigi literally uses her powers to zombify Bambita, which we're going to see. And the next fight is one of the highlights of the Thousand Year Blood War, and that is Renji and Rukia showing up to, let me see, we can skip the Jugrim Hashwall thing because he's not really doing anything important during this fight. This is when Pepe shows up. I think this can't be when Pepe shows up. This is when Master Masculine shows up. Like, at this point, Pepe hasn't revealed himself yet. So Master Masculine, Stern Ritter S, the superstar, shows up out of nowhere, and it cuts over to Kongdu and BG9 basically getting ready to get punished for their failures, for their failing to defeat the Soul Reapers that they stole their Bankais from. And, you know, this is when we first see Drugrim's ability of the balance at work. So the way it works is, without people getting too confused, is that any good fortune, he can absorb that and then basically turn it into misfortune. So anything good that happens, he can flip it and make it something bad. Case in point, when Kongdu was getting ready to get executed for him failing to beat Toshiro, he activated his ability of the iron, which basically he can turn his body into iron to where nothing can like penetrate him. And Jugrim's sword didn't cut him. Jugrim used his ability of the balance to turn that good fortune into bad fortune, into misfortune, and then he was able to slice him. And he basically cut right through him like a hot knife through butter. And you see Master Masculine basically doing everything. Rukia and Renji show up. And we got Rages at ringside, which actually was the, let me see, I believe Rings at Ringside, that was episode number 5 of the Thousand Year Blood War. I don't know if it's showing on here. Oh, okay, so you can't see it over at the side. Like, I would have to like stretch out the I don't even think I can, because I originally did this to, let me see, is there any way I can do this? There we go. Rages at ringside. Let me just slide this over. There you go. That should be good enough for the time being. Let me expand this. So Rages at ringside. That was episode 5 of the Thousand Year Blood War. So we're gonna go back to. Ooh, there we go. You see Master Masculine fighting them. I think he got. Oh, he was fighting. So Kensei and Rose show up. Now this has got to be the dumbest fight. Now this is a highlight right here, right? When Kensei first shows up, he was fighting Shuhei. Master Masculine was fighting Shuhei. Ended up beating him. Master Masculine starts fighting Kensei, and his drop kick was kind of weak because, you know, it didn't have any power behind it. Kensei was disappointed, called out the weakness because he felt like Shuhei lost to that, and it didn't really He didn't know that James, who was this little guy here, that is actually, even though they didn't confirm it, that's actually Master Masculine's weapon. Because his weapon is the cheers that James do. The more James cheer, the stronger Master Masculine gets. And anytime he cheers, so he gets knocked down, not only does he get healed, like he can destroy a body part, he gets healed. James is just his weapon. His weapon. So moving on to the fight, Kensei gets back up, charges at him, realizes that he's getting his ass kicked, and this leaves an opening for Rose to slice James in half. And then Rose activates his Bankai, Kinshara Butodan, the Golden Shala dance troupe, which allows him to use the power of music to cause damage to anybody who's listening to it. Now, this is one of the dumbest fights in the 1,000-Year Blood War, and I was dreading having to see this animated, because this whole damn time he could have beat Master Masculine if he would have just shut the fuck up. And I gotta be honest, like, he literally sitting there explaining the ability. So the first ability was Sea Drift, which is basically he's drowning him in water. Then the second one is Prometheus, uses fire on him. And of course Master Masculine is in disbelief because he can't believe that there's a Zanbakuto out there that can use more than one element. Rose basically confirms it, and he tells him that his power is basically an illusion. And as long as you're able to listen to the music that's being played, then you're going to be affected by the illusion. And you're going to basically take damage. And right before his final attack, was called a hero's life, whatever the hell that was going to do, Master Masculine basically pierced his own eardrums and made himself deaf, so he couldn't hear the music anymore. Then as soon as he did that, shot a big hole in his chest, turned Rose into a star donut. And the only reason this happened is because this dude couldn't shut up. There's a lot of people that deserve to die in the 1,000-Year Blood War. Rose was one of them. Even though he didn't, I mean, you're going to see why. But it was one of the dumbest things that could have happened. Literally one of the dumbest things. So Renji shows up. He's on demon time because he wants his rematch. Because, mind you, when they first met, Master Masculine drop kicked him, broke Zabimaru, and he had to get it repaired. Of course, him along with Rika and Byakuya, they went up to the Royal Palace, and they got healed, and they had the Zanbakutos restored. But Ichibei spoke to Renji and basically told him that the name of the Zanbakuto that you were told by the Zanbakuto itself, you were told by Zabimaru that Hikio Zabimaru was its true name. Ichibei, who is the Zero Division's leader, he's the head of the Zero Division. His title is the monk who gives names, so he can reveal the name of anything. I mean, the phrase Bankai, Shikai, he named all of that. So he's able to discover the names of Zanbakuto or anything he wants to name it, he can name it. And it'll be just that. That's how powerful he is. And like, you need to watch the anime or read the manga to find out how powerful he is. The dude is ridiculous. But regardless of the fact, he reveals the true name of Zabimaru to Renji. And because of this, Renji actually gets the true form of Zabimaru. And he really didn't waste any time. So he activates his Bankai, I think a little ways down here. He calls out James to get his eardrums repaired. They get into a little scuffle. And Renji is basically taking powerful hits from Master Masculine. A little sleepy. And he literally is going crazy. Slices up James. Stops him from using, getting stronger from James. And then slices Master Masculine's stomach. Then he calls out James. The pieces that he was sliced into turn into like a bunch of little baby Jameses. Calls him out. And then Master Masculine goes into his Volstandic form, which they don't. Most of these Volstandics don't really have a name, or not a name wasn't given, so we don't know what the actual. Wow, the whole damn time. I am so sorry. Master Masculine. I feel so stupid. He didn't give the name of his Volstandic. I know Quillage Opie ended up getting his. I think he got his. I think his Volstandic had a name. I can't remember. It was a couple of the Stern Ritters who I believe had names to their Volstandic, but most of them didn't give a name for it. It was just the holy form. And his mask ended up turning black, so regardless of the fact, when he goes into the Volstandic form, now this is a portion right here that they didn't show in the anime, because the first time Master Masculine in the anime, the first time Master Masculine goes into his Volstandic, or his superstar form, I'm assuming that's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it the superstar form. He didn't do like no fight. He just jumped in the air, and he in the anime they skipped all this. And this was something that they changed. The fight between Master Masculine and Renji, that first little scuffle after he went into his Volstandic form, they didn't show this. They only showed the part where he just jumped into the air, activated his cape, and he was getting ready to do his superstar Nova Blast, Star Flash Supernova. And then Renji activates his Bankai in the midst of the smoke. And of course, going on to the next chapter. They did all of this in one episode, by the way. So he activates Soul Sabimaru. I believe they do. See, he got Hihio about Sabimaru. And then it cuts to Ichibei basically telling Renji that his Zanbato Hihio Zabimaru name is a lie, which I referenced earlier, that it wasn't the true name of Zabimaru. Zabimaru basically didn't trust him, so he gave him a fake name. And so he decided to tell Renji the real name, which is called Soho Zabimaru, which translates into the two kings. He gains a baboon arm, a giant baboon arm, and he also gains a blade with a snake head on top of it that's connected to each other. And Master Masculine kind of goes into a frenzy, even throwing away his sense of justice that he always brags about. And make sure I ain't messing nothing up here. Wish somebody in the chat would have told me the screen was off to the side. I do apologize for that. But he ends up basically killing him. He ain't wasting no time. and he stabs him in the stomach, twists it, and uses his ability Saga Tempo or Snake Fan King that basically cooks him, burns him to a crisp, and he crumbles. And then the next fight that they have, now this is the backstory of Yuha that they did not that they did not show in the Thousand Year Blood War animated series. They didn't show this. This is the complete backstory of Yuha about how he didn't. For those of you who want this chapter, this is chapter 565. This is the chapter of 565 where the backstory of Yuha was actually shown. He was born as basically as a Quincy with no powers, but he was able, he was born with the ability to give power to other people. And even it says right here, even anybody who touched him, basically he had that ability. What he had the power was to impart his soul into other people. So anybody who lost limbs, he was able to regain them for him. They was able to regrow them as long as they had access to they had some of his soul or some of his power. And anybody who had some of his soul would basically return to him when he died. His power would basically go back to him. So this is the backstory of him. If you care to read more about this, go to chapter 565 in the manga. So I'm getting ready to skip a little bit more so ahead, because I think the next fight is between Rukia and Aznat. I know Nanjaku, he hit, I think he showed up. No, he was just chilling at the side for a moment. He thought Renji was going to do something. But yeah, anyway, the next fight is Aznat versus Rukia. And Aznat's thorns, of course, it imparts fear on anybody that touches them. And Rukia, at this time, she was able to control the temperature of her body, to basically temporarily kill herself, to where that fear had no effect. And she lowers her temperature enough to pretty much freeze Aznat and anything that basically touched her. So she was literally walking Sub-Zero, to where anything she touches pretty much freezes instantly. And her last move, while in her base form, she pretty much froze Aznat solid. Froze him solid. And Aznat, of course, he went into a frenzy, having flashbacks of when Yuha visited him in the hospital while he was sick. Basically, did the ritual, helped him out, gave him a reason to live. And he basically said that the only thing that I fear is being rejected by Yuha. So compared to that, this was nothing. And then he flips his eyelids, the mask breaks, showing his mutilated face. Flips his eyelids, goes into Tataforas, the fear of God, and his Volstandic form. First off, they animated this beautifully. They really did a good job. They showed his innards getting stitched up from his Volstandic. That whole stitch, that basically keeps his insides intact. And he looks like, death. And this is one of my favorite Sternritters, I swear he is. But at this point, he is a walking case of fear that just imparts it on anybody that looks at him or looks at his eyes. Whereas before, where the reishi thorns would have this little black substance seep into the skin of any body that touches it or comes in contact with it, and that's how he imparted fear on them. In this form, all he has to do is, the fear goes through the ocular nerves, and that fear can pretty much be embedded into them like that. Not only that, he has this almost like this flesh dome, this ability where he creates like this dome full of flesh and eyeballs, and those eyeballs are connected to him. So anybody who looks at those eyeballs also gets affected by fear. Now Byakuya shows up, saves her, and mind you, at this time, Byakuya, you know what? They actually did something here that kind of confused me. Now, I know somewhere along the line, he had to regain, he regained Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi. He regained it. And I can't remember whether he just touched one of the pills and he got it back during that time that Toshiro was fighting Basby, or I think that's what it was. I think he regained it like that. But he ends up, shredding the little dome that had Rukia entrapped. He basically shreds that, and pretty much revealed to Aznod, who thought that he was using his Bankai, that no, he was just using his Shikai. Because his Bankai was stolen, he basically made his Shikai stronger to where he didn't need to use his Bankai. So he's showing off the hilt of his sword. He said, "You think I'm using King Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi? Nah, look at my sword. You should know that a Bankai turns the entire world into a cutting edge. This Shikai is just normal Senbon Sakura." So he pretty much letting them know that his Shikai gotten way stronger since that. Aznot undoes the stitches that holds his insides in, and he decides he's going to impart fear by any means necessary. And this is kind of like his final calling card. But when this happens, Rukia decides she is going to activate her Bankai, which is Hakano Togame, White Haze Punishment. And she instantly freezes Aznot right in his tracks. Now, this backstory right here, this is something that they did not do in the 1,000-Year Blood War. I'm assuming they assumed it as filler. They thought it was filler. And Kubo was quoted saying that they would not be doing filler during any parts of the 1,000-Year Blood War, which I'm happy they decided to do. But this is a backstory of Aznot when Yuha visited him in the hospital to basically heal him for whatever ailment he was having. And this is the end result of Rukia using White Haze Punishment. Looks good. White robe is beautiful. However, she has to be careful because she has to lower her temperature slowly. Otherwise, she could basically kill herself. So that happened. And continuing on, excuse me. Arm kind of screwing. I'm trying to skip ahead here because I'm already like an hour into this explanation. what was something else that happened? Because I believe in the I Am Edge, I think this was when, yeah, this is when Kenpachi and Grimmy fought. And obviously, the highlight from this whole fight was Kenpachi activating Nozarashi with the activation drink. Now, they went back and forth. Excuse me for going so fast. But the fight was really good. I would say just go, because I think I Am Edge was the name of episode 7. And it was pretty. It was good. It was one of the better fights of the Thousand Year Blood War. You see Askin Nelavar just scoping, peeping everything. Then you got Pepe Love popping up, talking to Askin, and they're having a little back and forth. So Yachiru's right there. After her arm got turned into cookies, and I think I skipped when Neil was going against Isune and Yachiru in the infirmary that they were in when they were treating Kinsei for his injuries. But Grimmy, who was Stern Ritter I, the imaginary, Stern Ritter V, the visionary. He pretty much goes into a frenzy. Now his ability is that he can create reality from his imagination. Anything that he imagines comes true. So they're fighting. Grimmy is creating anything and everything. Missiles, guns, rocket launchers, everything. And he's just throwing it at him. And Kenpachi is just absorbing it all. Having the time of his life. And Grimmy eventually gets to the point where he just sends a meteor down from the earth. And this is literally the highlight of this whole thing. I'm trying to scroll down so when this happens, boom, here's the meteor. And this is Kenpachi basically calling out his Zanbato. Now here's the interesting thing that happened. For those of you who, aren't enthusiasts of Bleach and don't really know, who aren't that deep, Yachiru, or the vice captain of Squad 9, is actually the spirit of Nozarashi. That's basically her real name. So when Kenpachi Zaraki was in Muken fighting Yachiru Unohana, she basically kept killing him and bringing him back to life. The more she killed him, the closer he got with his sword, and that's how he was able to reveal the sword's real name. He heard the voice of it, and the name was revealed. But when he called out Nozarashi, Yachiru, his vice captain, disappeared. As you can see, Nozarashi right here, she's looking up, and it goes into a flashback. Now, mind you, they didn't do the flashback in the anime. I don't believe they did. This is from like the earlier seasons of Bleach where this happened. So when they were a baby, when he first met her, he asked her, "Where did you come from?" And she touched the sword, and that basically foreshadowed all the way back then that she was the actual spirit of that Zanbato. So when when Kenpachi activated the Shikai, she ended up returning to the sword as his Zanbato. So she disappeared. And once the fight was over, they went off looking for her. They couldn't find her. This dude looked beaten the hell up. And Grimmy then imagined himself. See, Grimmy had a double-edged sword with his ability, where anything he imagines literally becomes reality. So if he imagines himself stronger, it's very nitpicky. He also has to imagine himself in a body that can handle that strength. Otherwise, something like this can happen. He can turn into a big, strong person, and he doesn't have the body to handle that strength. So he basically ends up defeating himself more so than Kenpachi did, killed by his own imagination. And so now Kenpachi is looking for, well, he's going up to basically finish him off, which doesn't happen because, you know, Grimmy basically disintegrates because he's no longer able to maintain his form. And turns out he was just a brain. Who it belongs to, we don't know. It just never showed. So he's looking for Yachiru. Yachiru's gone. He sees that the clothes are there, but she's not. Sends his troop to find him. He doesn't know. But y'all will find out in part 3 exactly the significance of that. Because that's just crazy. Okay, moving along here. Lambert is going around using her ability of Stern Ritter G, the glutton, and just chewing and eating. I don't know if it does anything in particular, but she has the ability to pretty much eat anything. And I don't know if she gets powers from that. I think she just can eat anything. And this is Minius, who is Stern Ritter P for the power. She basically gets stronger. This is Stern Ritter Z, Gigi, where her blood, when it gets on anybody, they turn into zombies and fall under her control. Or basically anybody that gets her blood splashed on them pretty much becomes hers to control. And as you can see right there, all of her blood got on a bunch of Soul Reapers, and she ordered them to commit seppuku, and that's what happened. So Candace Catnip and all those guys jumped Zaraki when he was already like injured and all that, and this is when Ichigo crashes down to basically save the day. I'm trying to see if we can find that panel, so we not, yep, all looking up. Ichigo crashes down. Boom. Goes straight to Kenpachi just to talk shit to him. Look at you, you're all beating up, Kenpachi. What are you doing here? Didn't think there'd ever come a time when I say this to you. I came to help you. Because they got a long history. Didn't think there'd ever come a time you'd be helping me. Can you get up? Can I get up? Are you kidding me? Worry about yourself. And Ichigo just going fucking full boss mode. Candace Catnip tried to shock him while he wasn't looking. Ichigo just tosses her to the side. She comes back pissed off because, you know, her hair got messed up, but, you know, Candace is literally like a beauty queen. So, got a little complacent. It wasn't complacency, it was to be expected. Ichigo Kurosaki, it's the least we can expect from him. He leads the list of special threats. And of course, Candace Catnip loses her damn mind. And she activates her while standing, I think, almost immediately. Of course, they all take out their bows. And go to it. I'm glad I'm recording this separately. I wish I would have numbered these chapters better, so I wouldn't be taking so long just to explain this. But yeah, they go into a fight. They activate the roll standing, and Ichigo uses Getsuga potential, where he basically just takes the shorter Zangbato and he just slices the air. He just cuts the air, like just taps it with the edge and just blows away whatever the hell she was doing. And she just keeps going berserk. Okay. So, going and going. He just tells her to dodge it. Ichigo sends out a Getsuga Tensho. Candace Katniss tried to block it. He tells her to dodge it for whatever fucking reason. And yeah, she losing an arm, and she asks Gigi to fix her up, and he does, and he ends up taking some of the bodies that he had control over, and he creates a new arm for Candace. And then you see this beam of heat out of nowhere just shoot Candace right through the gut, and everybody else is shocked, and that of course is Basby. He just takes him out because he feel like they're taking too long, and you know, Yuha is on his way up to the royal palace. So they all popped up out of nowhere. Now there's something special about this old dude right here, the one with the mustache. There's something special about him, because he knows something that the other ones don't, and you're going to see what I mean later on. So as this is going on, because Ichigo crashed down into the Serite through that barrier, Yuha now has an opportunity to ascend into the royal palace, which is what he wanted anyway. He knew Ichigo was going to be back, and in order for him to come back, he was going to have to break through that barrier, and that was going to be his opportunity to go up to the royal palace, because ultimately he wants to confront the Soul King. So of course he thanks him. He tries to go over there. One of the Sternritter to stop him. Or her strength in the world. Of course, here you go trying to fight these guys. Man. Yes, he tries to fight them. You know, Rukia, Renji, and Byakuya, they all show up to basically slow him down so that Ichigo can get to Yuha. Now, when he gets there, you know, with all they fighting and all that, we can just skip all this. The fight itself isn't that important, it's just a scuffle. The highlight was that this is when Ichigo finds out that Ishida is with Yuha. Now, of course, Ichigo is no dummy. He knows that Ichigo is no dummy. He knows that Ishida is like doing this for a reason. He doesn't understand why at this moment. But Chad and Orihime, they pop up, and this is another key point that they did not, a key moment that they did not put in the manga. I mean, in the anime. So when this happened, and I'm glad they kind of cut this out, because it would have took away from the seriousness of the moment. of them trying to get Yuha. So apparently, when she showed up, um, I think Kisuke made a comment about the way that Orihime was dressed, and he thought that Ichigo would appreciate it. And I'm trying to skip to it because I didn't look up these chapters ahead of time to know which was which I should have did just to save time from doing all this skipping. And of course, Yuha finally goes up to the royal palace, and he is there with Ishida and Jugrum, with some other stern ridders hiding in the cut. So, as they try to send some of the foot soldiers or the soldat to charge in there, they're met with one of the royal guard, which is Tenjiro, and they start showing up one by one after the fact. So that's one. So this is. Now I could have sworn that Tenjiro had activated his Shikai differently, because I know his activation call is Shine. But Kinpika is his Zanbakuto, and it looks like a wooden paddle, which is basically just a cover for the actual blade. So, and this is a funny part too. So, as Ikaku and what's his name, they were talking to Gigi. Homeboy, he pretty much knew that this was a dude, and Gigi was so damn shocked that he knew. He said, "I know you're trying to hide it, but I can't. I can tell you're a man from your smell." Wow. And then, of course, it was revealed that earlier, Gigi turned Bambita into a zombie. So it's literally just a weird scenario. So Ichigo, Orihime, and Chad, they're all going into a substitute heavenly pillar. I forgot the actual name of it. And they're getting ready to launch themselves into the royal palace in order to confront Yuha and Ishida and Jugrum. So right here, this is the moment right here. Ichigo, well, I wasn't sure how to bring this up. What do you think about what? Orihime's clothes. So, you think she's revealing a bit too much? They skipped this whole part because they did not want to have a moment like this to break from the seriousness of their goal. And I'm glad they did take it out, because you can stay invested into the actual moment of them trying to get answers from Ishida and catch up with Yuha, so that they don't, try to go after the Soul King or whatever they're trying to do, because they don't know. So Yoruichi, and this is another thing they changed. They kind of censored this. She has her undies showing here. The dress that she has on is way longer, so they kind of they kind of censored that out. But I kind of wonder, what are they going to do? Well, actually, this whole moment was taken out. This whole moment was actually taken out, so they didn't show none of this. When she first showed up, she just walked through the door, went to Kisuke and opened up her robe and showed that she had the vials that Kisuke needed in order to launch the pillar. So that was something interesting that they took out. So of course they're still fighting outside. We can skip all this because this is not important. We can actually go up, because Marching of the Zombies had like multiple parts. It had one, two, three, four. Marching of the Zombies had like four different parts. And this next fight was Toshiro after he got hit with some of Bambita's blood. And I think I missed out on when I can't remember none of these guys' names, but they were Luffy, he was the replacement Arrancar for Grimjow while he was injured. But the other two, the one that Ishida fought and the one that Ichigo fought, when they was on their way to fight Aizen and Hook and Mundo. But Mayuri, he went to Sanzepuro's lab, and he basically took him for himself. So they're basically fighting for him. And since Quincy's can't absorb, again, Hollow Reishi, perfect counter. But Toshiro is a zombie now at this moment. He got hit with some of Bambita's blood, and he's going around killing everybody. He's slicing everybody up, doing damage, injuring everybody. And then Mayuri ends up seeing him, and he wants to test out a drug on him. Now, at this moment, Toshiro is pretty much dead, right? He's dead, more or less. But he's actually alive. He's not dead, but he's under Gigi's control. And the drug that Mayuri is using on him, or rather, he's about to use on him, is, this dude tried to fight Toshiro, got sliced up. And Mayuri said, I'm gonna let you stay there and die because you didn't do what I told you to do. You should have known better than to fight. But he pretty much was going to test out a drug. And the drug that he's going to test out on, the best way I can explain it, it's like a form of Izanagi. For those of you who watch Naruto, it's a form of Izanagi where the person who takes the drug, they basically get thrown into this endless loop. And what it's supposed to do is that it's supposed to help the person regain consciousness while they're under the influence of something else. So in this case, Toshiro is under the influence of Gigi's blood. He's kind of mind controlled by her, and the drug is basically snapping him out of that mind control so that he can regain control of himself. So Ashisogi Jizo, he put like a sensor that basically gives him ultra instinct. It can sense wherever he's going to strike, and then throws out a counter strike automatically, or like a parry automatically. And anytime there's a moment while he's under the influence of that drug, time just basically resets itself back to the beginning. And this is when he starts to snap back. Well, let me, won't you? Don't worry, for the sake of the swords here. And then he ends up using Daigo and Yorimaru, kills Mayuri again, and then snaps right back to the moment. And this is literally breaking his mind to get him back into get him back to where he's in control of himself. So that was a cool moment. So trying to skip all of this because I'm well over an hour. He even had Rangiku, Rose, and Kensei turned into zombies, right? But Mayuri, he had an answer for that, and he pretty much takes control of the zombies of Kensei, Rangiku, and Rose. So while that's going on, they're still scuffling over there. Shuhei pops up out of nowhere, tries to hit Byakuya, swings on him. Turns out he's under Pepe Love's love beam, and he's doing whatever. Because it's basically another mind control thing. Same thing with Gigi, where he uses blood to control people, turn them into zombies. Pepe shoots a love beam, and anything that it hits, be it a Zombato, be it a person, anything with a soul, basically falls in love with him, and he just controls it. So the fact that he hit, what's her name, Stern Ritter P, with a beam, she ends up falling in love, and forces her to punch Lampert in the face. So that happened. I think his beam actually hits Byakuya's Zanbak toe, and the Zanbak toe ends up getting under Pepe's control for like momentarily. But I think something funny happens later on. I'm trying to see, because he does hit him with the beam, but mind you, he's wearing Senjumaru's garbs, so it didn't really affect him. It didn't really hit him. So he goes into his Volstandic, which is called Goderu, God's Love, and pretty much they didn't really explain what other abilities he gained from his Volstandic, and they didn't do that in the anime either. So this is the time when Mariri took control of the zombies. I think Lily Lampard gets ready to eat Pepe. This is some crazy stuff. Whatever drug he used it on them. It wears off. He uses it again, and he ends up gaining control of them again. So there's that. He pretty much tells Gigi, "Hey, your zombies are not my zombies." I mean, look, it's Mayuri. That's all we can say. It's Mayuri. And even when Pepe tried to take control of him, it didn't work. Because they don't have any souls. So his beam doesn't work. Of course, he ends up getting knocked in the corner. Lampert found out where he was, uses the glutton, eats him. That's pretty much how that went. We don't actually see the devouring taking place, but she does eat him. She just emerges with the ability of the glutton already activated, and chomp, just eats him. But back at the Royal Palace, they're trying to fight Yuha, and they're wondering why their attacks aren't working. And that's because Stern Ritter W is hiding within Yuha. Is a Stern Ritter in Nyanzo Wezo, who is Stern Ritter W, the wind, and nothing can basically hit him. So I'm trying to skip this to get back to the Royal Palace. Everybody's on their way up there to. Here we go. Sinjin Maru's Royal Sword Guard or whatever. They're trying to attack Weisel, and they can't hit him. The blades, everything that tries to touch him, basically bends. It's almost like reality warping, or like warping, not reality, but nothing can touch him. But somehow Sinjin Maru was able to use the power of whatever the hell she does, exactly, sewing needles, and she stitched her insignia on him, basically making that garb hers. And she basically spikes him to death from the inside out, turns that garb into hers. So that's crazy. I'm trying to skip ahead to get to the end of this, because we only have like a handful of more chapters before the. Now they didn't. At first, they never revealed. Now this is something different that they did. When they first introduced the Schustaffel, which is what this is called, the Schustaffel, they didn't give the what the scripts mean. So Pernida, his script is C for the compulsory, and what he basically does is that he shoots his nerves into others and basically is able to control them at will. So if he wants to shoot his nerves into something and turn them into a big ball of mush, which if you watch the anime, you've seen him do that. That's what he does. That's pretty much what he does. Sternritter M, Gerard Valkyrie. He's the miracle. He doesn't really have any powers per se. It's his sword and his shield that basically is his big thing. Now, the interesting thing about Pernida and Gerard is that they didn't get their powers from Yuha. They didn't get their powers from Yuha. But we'll get into that some other time. Like, y'all find out about that later. Next, they got Askin Lavar, who is Sternritter D, the death dealing, and then there's Sternritter X, the X-axis Lily Barrio. So they're getting ready to fight the Royal Guard. They're attacking him, going crazy. She calls out Rayo's shield, or the Soul King's shield. This big giant guy who comes out of nowhere to stop him. And supposedly what happens, because at this point they don't show it. They don't show the ability. But Pernida, it can't, because they didn't even show it in the anime. Because you don't see Pernida's hand come out of the robe to use his powers. They just made it seem like he was like a telekinetic, and that he just balled up the dude. But pretty much what he did was he shot his nerves into the target and basically crumbled him up and threw him to the side. Now, Lily Barrio, he has a big rifle. That's pretty much what he does. And he's able to shoot anything, blows a hole right through her head. And pretty much what happens, that she has a pool of blood. And I believe she reveals that everything that happened right there was basically just an illusion of her tapestry, her sewing abilities. She basically created tapestries that gave off the illusion that everything was going on in that area. So everything that they was fighting was just fake, and it was revealed that it was revealed that she was just biding time so that Hikifune could activate her reishi tree to basically keep them caged in, or to live in force to keep them caged in so that they weren't able to leave. So then Oetsu Namaya shows up, the one who created the Zanbakutos, with the one Zanbakuto that cannot get rusted whatsoever. Now they did do something different. Now let me just skip ahead. Um, as they're fighting, each of the Stern Ritter gets knocked down. Each of the Shustyphon gets knocked down one by one. Barrio tries to fire, and his reishi bullets are basically getting absorbed by the tree, and the tree's feeding off of it. So all this is going on. The Maya is just taking them out one by one, right? And while this is going on, Namaya gets injured by something, and Askin uses his ability of the death dealing. And the way his ability works is that anything, be it reishi, be it some type of liquid, anything that belongs to someone, he can control the lethal dose. He can control how lethal that substance is. So in this particular instance, he drank some of Oetsu's blood, and he basically made it lethal to him. So he's pretty much making Oetsu's blood poisonous to himself. So Oetsu, Askin is pretty much describing what his ability is, and he's just making his blood more and more lethal. So once Askin gets done explaining it, Oetsu basically cuts an artery in his neck, bleeds out. He's bleeding out in order to reduce how lethal his blood is to him. So Tenjiro, he calls Tenjiro to use his red hot spring to restore the blood in his body. So it was pretty ingenious. And then he just cuts Askin. Now what happens next? Now they didn't show this at first. This was different. This was actually different, because in this one, I'm trying to think. This was actually in the manga. Yuha and Ichibei was already fighting for a while before the he activated the Ashwaulan. So Robert Akatron, he was, again, remember when I said that he knows something? In the anime, while he was fighting, he mentioned that, hey, I need to finish this fight so that I can go up to the royal palace with His Majesty, because he knew that if they were left behind and His Majesty or Yuha was up in the royal palace with the other Stern Ritter, then something was going to happen to him. And this is basically when he catches wind. Hey, did you know His Majesty has gone above, huh? I asked you what you were doing. He does not take us with him. You're right. But so what? We'll just stay here and fight till he comes back. Don't you see? Do you not understand it's over for us? What are you talking about? We've been deemed unnecessary for the coming battle. You newcomers do not know His Majesty's terror. The stern ridders exist for His Majesty. His Majesty despises lies. There are no lies in his existence. Stern ridders that are deemed unnecessary will be food for His Majesty's Arshwallen. And basically, this ability is called the Holy Selection. So, as many of you know, the ritual to turn, people into stern ridders is that Yuha gives a piece of his soul to that individual, and then a script appears on them that is and then they received a script that is a direct correlation to their powers. But because of this, Yuha has the ability to take that back and redistribute it amongst other stern ridders to revive them or make them more powerful. And this is basically what's going on here. And all of the stern ritter that got left at the pretty much got left at the battle in the Serite, he used the Ashwallen or the Holy Selection to pretty much take all their powers to revive the stern ritter, the Schustiefel, or excuse me, the Schustifel. So Robert, he gets hit with the Holy Selection, that beam, and it does what it does. It kills him. It takes his life back to Yuha. He gathers that energy, that life, that soul back, and a few of them, they avoid it to where it doesn't kill them, but they lose their Volstanic. All their powers in that vicinity, goes back to Yuha. Now, again, they changed this because he was already fighting Ichibei for a little bit, but in the manga, he stayed with Gerald, Askin, Pernida, and with Lily to revive him. Like, he stayed with him. He never left the tree. He never left the tree. Now, Basby, he's resisting. I don't know how, that they didn't explain how he's surviving the Holy Selection, because what it's supposed to do is actually supposed to kill the person that is getting hit by it, and that power that they have goes back to Yuha, as well as the life that Yuha has, that he gave to him. So I don't know if it's just willpower or whatever it is, but it basically heals him. Ashwallen, the consecration, collecting the lives and powers of unnecessary Quincy's and distributing them to those who need it. It's a redistribution of power. Those that lose it die. So I wonder if, in losing it, like, it depends on their willpower. Are they just willing to give it up, or do they have to fight to keep their life? Because some of those stern ridders survived, like Basby. They survived it when originally they were supposed to die. So it's one of His Majesty's powers. So it's not a transfer of power. It's a transfer of power, not Reishi. So these trees that are supposed to block Reishi cannot stop it. I see additional power. So that's why a bullet never reached me before. Punched a hole in my body. You're making two mistakes. The first one, this is not an additional power. It's a power I've always possessed that I merely did not have time to use earlier. Then the second mistake is that it wasn't a bullet that pierced her body. Like I said, it cannot be stopped no matter how many walls you put up. The name of my power is X-axis. There are no bullets and it uniformly penetrates anything in between the muzzle of my gun and the target. Mine lining up in a single file that I can kill you with one shot. And then, of course, Pernida comes in, bends the trees, breaks it, and this is when Yuha goes up to fight Ichibei. Now, there's only like 4 more chapters of this, and the main part, now there's Ukitake right there. Now, he's there talking to Shinsui. The Kakimake Divine Vow was in anticipation of that. Now, remember this right here. The Kamikake Divine Vow this is an important part right here. So, let's read this. Oh, wait, the structures now belong to them, don't they? If we ever do drive the enemy out, will structures from the Sirte ever return again? If they do, will the structures stay broken or will they go back to how they used to be? I hope they'll go back to how they used to be. Won't you agree, Ukitake? I don't know if they're broken, we'll just fix them. I knew you'd say that. You seem like you allowed infiltration into. It seems you allowed infiltration into Ryoku, so you knew. The Kamikake, the Divine Vow, I'm so tongue tied right now. Was in anticipation of that. It certainly appears the Kamikake was successful. So you see right here, this is actually a foreshadow into the Hell arc, and you're gonna see exactly what I mean when we read the book. Matter of fact, let me bookmark this because this is actually a foreshadow. Just peep the design. Notice this design. You're gonna see that again. So I guess if you can push yourself to some degree, stop talking like a doctor. Well, take care of yourself. I'll see you later. Wait, where are you going, Koriyaku? Oh, just to room 46. Don't call me. So, Ukitake is on his way to basically handle something. And of course, this fight is going on between Yuha. They mix this up a lot, where Yuha, at the end of that scuffle between him and Ichibei, the episode ended with him being turned into an ant after Ichimonji, which is Ichibei's Zanbato, renamed him as an ant. They changed up all of this. Goodness, when you say my name when I tell you not to, I always slap you away as a punishment, but you come back. You've grown old, but you're still a little troublemaker. But if you won't listen to me, you leave me no choice. I have to kill you. I'm glad they animated this. Divine Division, they got 4 more. We can just skip all these. You see Yachiru's little sister, his little brother, who's I think he's like the 32nd head of the 23rd head of the Shihoin family, Yushiro. So they're going at it up there. I'm trying to just skip straight to the last chapter, which is 609, because nothing really happened major between the fight. The only thing they really changed was when Yuha activated the Ashwalan, or the Holy Selection. At the end, Yuha still got turned into an ant. Ichimonji got activated. He used his ability to change Yuha's name to a black ant. So this is the name of his Zanbato, his Bankai, which is Senuchi Serafune Ichimonji, the white brush. His Ichimonji is the name of his Shikai, which is the black brush. And anything that he paints black, he can change the name of it, or he can cut the power of it in half by basically cutting the name in half. So an arm name is R, so it's only half as strong. A sword name is So, so it's only half as half as strong. But his Bankai is the white brush, and he can completely change the name of whatever he writes on it. So, or whoever or whatever he writes on, he can change the name, and it gains the properties of that thing he changes it to. So he, activates his Bankai or his evolved Zanbakuto. He said, if I had used the more modern term, I guess this would be called Bankai. That's because long before Bankai was born in this world, this was the first of all Zanbato. So this sword can etch a name on whatever is painted over by Ichimoji. And he renamed Yuha to Black Ant. And he kicks him down out of the royal palace. And he just squishes him. And this is where, this moment right here is pretty much where the anime ends. It didn't mention that Yuha was getting ready to activate the Almighty. They didn't show this part yet. So this is going to be the beginning of part 3, where Yuha reveals the ability of the Almighty, which he can use to pretty much send himself back into. He can change history as he wants to. He can look into the future, see what's going to happen, and then change it based on that, so that what would have happened doesn't happen. So that was the end of the 1,000-Year Blood War part 2. It's 63 chapters from 546 to 609. So if you ever get a chance to read these for yourself, do so. And I can only assume that part 3 is going to be 610 through, because they're going to cut these in half. Not to mention all the extra stuff that they did in between. Because one interesting thing that they did that I forgot to mention was that they revealed something very unique, and I'm gonna put the slide on for that. So let me turn that off for a second. Let me bring this back up. So one of the exclusive things that they revealed was that each of the members of the Zero Division, with the exception of Ichibe, the 4 remaining ones, Hikifune, Senjumaru, Tenjiro, and Oetsu, those 4 have a blood oath that they created with each other that prevents them from using their true Zanbakuto, right? And as long as they're all alive, that basically prevents them from using it, because their Zanbakuto are so powerful that if they use their Bankai's forms, it shakes the heavens of every world between the Soul Society, Hukemundo, and in the human world. So they have to keep their powers in check. So what happens during the 1,000-Year Blood War anime, 3 of the Zero Division members ends up coming to an agreement to kill themselves. They kill themselves. Now they don't actually die, quiet as kept. As long as they have they actually are able to revive themselves after a certain period of time. But regardless, they all kill themselves. The blood oath was, you know, the blood seal was weakened, and Sinjin Maru was the one that was decided to activate her Bankai. And you see it right there. When she activates it, this big sewing machine, or this tapestry machine, appears behind her. And it creates these banners and these carpets out of nowhere. You know, these forms of tapestry that just creates rooms all surrounding in the area of effect. And the name of it, and forgive me if I get the name wrong, get me out the way. It's called Shitatsu Kuraga Shigira Mino Suji. And I forgot the translation. I think it's like old woman weave or something like that. But basically what she's able to do is that she can create rooms around targets and basically have them affected by it. Like one of the rooms that she made had, like, it was gold, and it pretty much had gold spikes on it, and she just folded it layers on top of I think it was asking. One of the rooms that she created was pretty much made of quicksand, and like a black quicksand, and she pretty much drowned Pernida within that. And everybody got affected by something, and I wish I had the pictures for it, but just go watch episode I want to say episode 12 or 13, and you'll see it in action. It's a pretty interesting moment. Now I'm kind of wondering if they're going to reveal the other Zero Division's Bankais as well. Because Sinjin Maru, she never revealed her Shikai first, but the Bankai got revealed. So, we don't know. But it was a pretty good arc. It was a pretty good season. They did not announce when we're going to get part 3, but looking at the way that they mapped out the part 2, we're going from 610 to 686. So let's see if we do the math. Oh shit, hold up. That's 76 chapters. If you divide that by 2, it's going to be 38 chapters apiece if they decide they want to go there. If they wanted to do that. So, you know, like, we don't really know. Yeah, if you guys ever wanted to check that out, go ahead, check it out. Again, part 2 in the manga is 63 chapters. It goes from chapter 546 and it ends at chapter 609. Oh, let me get the... Yeah, let me shrink this back. Put this back at center. Fit the screen. There we go. Now, what I can do... I don't really need to do this. I don't know why I still got that scroll. Move that. Boom. There we go. Open this up. All right. Now let me open this up. Scroll all the way up to the top. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so now we are getting into the Bleach special, the No Breaths of Hell. Again, this is a one-off manga that we're doing a live reading of. It is the beginning of the Howling Jaws of Hell arc that whenever they begin writing for it, we will know. This is the first page of it you see right here. They have all of the current Gote 13 right there. You see Shinsui, he's over to the right. He's just chilling right there. There's Kensei above him. Above him is Mayuri. Above Ichigo, that's Shinji, Byakuya, Toshiro, and that's Lisa. If you don't know who Lisa is, she is she's the head of squad. Let me see. What squad is Lisa the head of? I want to say squad 8. Lisa. I think she's the head of squad 8 now. Yeah, she's the head of squad 8. So there's that. But she was the Stern Ritter that had on the she had on the schoolgirl outfit. And that during the Fate Karakura Town arc, when the Ninos Grande came up, she was the one who had like the big spear, as you see right there. But that's Lisa. There's Rose right there. There's Kenpachi, Rukia. She's the head of Squad 13. She took over Ukitake after he, well, you'll find out. Iba, he's the head of, I want to say Squad 11. Is Iba the head of Squad 11? No, that's Kenpachi. Which one? Iba's head of Squad 7, excuse me. Above Rukia, that's Soifong. And down here, it may look a little different, but the girl over here that got like the little apple bob thing going on, like right up there, right above my head, right there, that's Isune. And if you don't know who Isune is, she was the vice captain to Retsu Unohana when she was still alive. Which Isune is the Isane, excuse me. Let me see if I can find a picture of her. That's her, Isane, but she looks different, right? There you go. That's her. So she should look familiar now. Isane right there. But that's how she looks. So she became the captain of Squad 4. I can't remember exactly who was the head of Squad 4, but before her. But she became the captain of Squad 4. So again, this is the beginning of the Jaws of Hell arc, or rather this one-off manga is treating this book as the first step towards that arc. We're going to go over it. It's going to reveal a lot of stuff, man. As somebody who already read it, it's really going to be one of those it's really going to be one of those mangas that, yeah, if you're a fan of Bleach, you're going to want to read this. So going on to the first page, I'm going to read it as is. So when I was little, I owned 2 goldfish. They were cute and I loved them a lot, but at some point the larger one died. The reimagining goldfish seemed to feel lonely, and so did I while observing it. But from that day, the little goldfish I thought had stopped growing began to grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and continued to become healthier. Seeing that made me really relieved, and I'm glad. It was a good thing that the larger one died. And then you see like this long gigantic goldfish floating in the sky. And this is Kazui Konchan. This is Ichigo and Orihime's son. And, Orihime's just checking on him. This is the World of the Living, Karakura Town, Block 1. And yep, he's sleeping properly. Thank you for playing with Kazue today as well, Konchan. So Kon is right there, knocked out. So once Orihime closes the door, Kon pops his head up. Kazui opens his eyes, and they get ready to sneak out. Hey, wait, stop. Hey, wait, stop. What? Don't what me, you just got in trouble yesterday. You need to behave and go to sleep today. But I promised that I'd go today. You also promised your mom that you would actually sleep. Which one's more important? The promise I made first. That's what I mean. What's up with this kid? He's so bad. What's up with this kid? He's so hard to handle. Fine, I don't care anymore. You don't have to come home. You don't have to come, Konchan. So as he jumps out the window in his PJs, he activates his Soul Reaper powers and jumps on the back of the goldfish and he flies off. So he said, wait, I'm coming too. You could have just said you didn't notice I left because you were sleeping. Oh crap, I should have thought of that. Sob, sniff. Sob. Uncle, I came to play. His cry doesn't suit him at all. You're late. I was so lonely. And I said this yesterday, but don't call me uncle. I'm 15. A man that's lying about his age and whose cry doesn't suit him at all. I'm not lying. Wait. Is this talking stuffed animal? Wait, what is this talking stuffed animal? And one more thing. I'm sorry about, I don't think I can come tomorrow. No way, I'll be lonely. Yeah, that's why. I'll take you to a place where you won't be lonely today. And I think this dude is dead. He is, so there's a chain on him. So he's been in the world of the living. So I guess he has to get led to the Soul Society. And I think Kazue is taking him there. A shrine? No, next to it. We go from here. Oh, he's taking him to the Soul Society. Whoa. What's this? It's scary. Was this your first time seeing it, Konchan? It's not scary. Look, if you stand here and clap 3 times, and clap once more. See, inside here, it's all right. Everyone's there. And then here comes the title, No Breaths from Hell. And 3 hours later, in the Soul Society, the Officer Mansion. Good morning, Master. Hey, you're late, Ichika. And this is Renji and Rukia's son, daughter. And Ikaku is the one pretty much training her, because she's a Soul Reaper cadet. And, they're going at it. See, they're going back and forth. Phew. You've improved, Master. Shut up, you little shit. I've been good from the start. I'm your master. And stop posing. Get off the roof or I'm gonna kick your I'm gonna kick your ass, you little shit. You called me a little shit 2 times. You're the only one that calls me a little shit. Meaning I can't be replaced. You should be grateful. Now stop whining and jump down, you little shit. It's dangerous if I jump down. You idiot, be careful. I see an opening. I don't have one. Have you gotten rusty? Haven't you gone on expeditions to the world of the living? I haven't gone. I'm only allowed to go on long breaks. Must be lonely. I bet you're longing to see Ichigo's kid. I don't want to see him. It's not like that between me and Kazue. You're an idiot, Master, an idiot. You guys are still going at it. I don't know who this is. I think this is what's his name, but I can't think of his name. Good morning, Chika-san. It is him. Good morning, Chika-san. You're beautiful today as well. Thank you. You're all so cute, Ichika-chan. Why are you making this face? I haven't done anything. And what do you mean we're still going at it? This kid just arrived. Ah, so you've forgotten after all. the Soul Funeral Festival. The festival. It's a ritual that takes place 12 years after the funeral of a captain that died in battle. It's my first time hearing of it. I hadn't heard of it. I haven't heard of it till this year either. After all, captains rarely die in battle. So we did the previous Captain Commander's ritual the other day when we did Captain Unohana's, and today's the ritual for Captain Ukitake. What kind of ritual is it? We capture the hollow in the world of the living and kill it in front of their grave. Huh? What the heck? Is that fine by the standards of Soul Society? Well, it's an old custom. Wait a minute. Where are you right now? It's awfully noisy around you. Oh, my bad. Keigo started a ramen shop recently, and we all came to eat since he doesn't get any customers. Is he sane choosing that store name? Keigo has never been sane. No, I have. Like right now. Could you stay out of the conversation, owner? The other customers will feel uncomfortable if you're too friendly with us. You know, I don't have any other customers yet. You still said that. It was a roundabout way of telling you to shut up, owner. Call me by my name when there's no other customers. Damn you. Yo, oh, there's one bowl of ramen. Oh, my ramen's here. I gotta go. Hey, wait. I'm the one that called you. Don't cut off. Oh, that's right. So what did you want? I was saying that you should attend too. Eh? That Kill a Hollow Festival? Spirit Funeral Festival. Normally only captains are allowed to attend. But you're not an outsider regarding Captain Ukitake. So they said you could attend. Who said it? Kyuraku-san? Captain Kuryaku and Rukia. Oh. If it isn't Ichigo. This is amazing. Your face appears. So this is the newest model of the Reaper communication device. It's a cell phone. So what do you have? An older model? Yes. I said I didn't need a new one because the old model works just fine. But it's a different story if you can see faces. So interesting. By the way, where's Orihime? Is she on this side? You can't even see her if you look from an angle. She's doing laundry at home. What? A husband that leaves all the chores to his wife? I know what that is. It's called moral harassment, right? You're wrong. And when did you even learn something like that? We recently started having these things called TVs in Soul Society, and you can watch shows from the world of the living too. Never thought this would be how I learned what a parent feels when their kids watch TV instead of studying. But a TV in Soul Society? Huh? I can't really imagine that. Urahara-san started helping out in the Shinigami Research and Development Institute after the war, and a bunch of different new spirits devices have been invented. Oh, Urahara-san is really an amazing person. I can't let that pass. And here's Mayuri popping up out of nowhere. I can't let that pass. Let me hold up. I'm scrolling up, but you guys can't see that good. Let me move myself over to the side a little bit. There we go. Now, I can't let that pass. Captain Kurasuchi, why are you here? In the first place, why are you here? In the first place, I was inventing things while keeping the grace of the Serite in mind. That man who doesn't know a thing about grace is trying to ruin my efforts. Wait, no, Renji. He's not actually here. There's an image coming out of this bug. What is that? It's disgusting. That's great. That's graceful. It's useless if you use that. It's useless. Even if you crush that insect, I have already spread replacements all over the place. That sounds like something you'd say during a battle. And I can hear your voices, so you should choose your words carefully. Sorry, Captain Kurasuchi. Alright, Big Sis and Yamada. You shouldn't apologize when you haven't done anything wrong. Oh, it's a hologram. It's my first time seeing the real deal. Gross. There's an emergency message, Kurosuchi. Captain Kurosuchi. I have a message for all vice captains. I'm home. Master said he forgot something. Master said he forgot a job or something, so he kicked me out even though I went out of the way to go there. Captain Kurosuchi, cool. For the first for the first stage of tonight's Soul Funeral Festival, preliminary ritual capture of the mass spirit. It's about time all vice captains to head to the world of the living. Heading over, it's time. Okioba-san, stick to your Okioba-san, stick to our captain. Understood. That's a weird word for me. Hurry up your potential preparations. Hurry up your preparations. Yes. 7th Division Barracks. Hey, have you guys seen Atu? The vice captain is playing with animals in the yard. Atu. Atao. Even though even though I've said that today is an important day. No, this is a new guy. Wasn't this? No, he's new. I've got a message for you, Captain Kurosuchi. It's fine. I heard it just now. Oh, okay. Still, he set up such a large-scale contraption on all the barracks just for a message. We already knew about the time. Could it be? Captain Kurosuchi is panicking because Urahara-san keeps inventing new merchandise. Try not to say such stupid things. I'm just testing a prototype that makes use of our technology better than what he was. You're totally conscious of him. He just used laser beam eyes on. I don't know who he used them on, but he used laser beam. Oh, he was getting ready to shoot Shuhei. Wow. No way he can attack. Above all else, did you refer to the inventions of my Shinigami Research and Development Institute as merchandise? I'm not the one that said that. So what they mean by a job, both my father and my master, it's not fair for them to go play in the world of the living without telling me. Okay, captains are the only ones that attend the ritual, and vice captains are to capture a hollow for preparations. But was there a need for all these people to gather here? Shut up, outsiders. Shut up. Outsiders should stop yapping about our traditions. And why are you even here in the first place? What? You're the one that told me I'm not an outsider and I should attend. I told you to attend the ritual. Now, don't fight. Anyway, the ritual can't start until we finish things on our side. So you can quickly get this done, quickly attend the funeral, and quickly go out for a drink. I just got a sudden addition to my schedule. Can you drink today? Yeah, I still have the time until my deadline. What were you thinking? What were you working as again? I'm a translator. Wow, you're such an intellectual. Yeah, I'll introduce the newcomer since it's rare for all of us to gather. That's Rindo, the vice captain of Ibasan's division. He can't talk. Do you know sign language? No, I don't. Sorry. He said you don't need to apologize. He can read lips, so he understands what we're saying. That's awesome. You're not awesome at all. Stop making that smug face. This is somebody else new. How's it going? I'm vice captain of the 8th Division, Sion Yayahara, Yu. Nice to meet you. Sorry, she's been influenced by what is referred to as the Gyaru in the world of the living. The world of the living doesn't have Gyarus like that. By the way, she's a vice captain of Captain Yotamaru's division. Oh, that makes sense. You're the hero of the great world, Ichigo-san. I've heard rumors. Can I take a picture? I'll make sure to put a filter on. I'm not a hero. Don't take a picture and don't use a filter. Here we go. Say, Pocorino. I'll ask my captain about your line account and send you a friend request later, so make sure to add me. No way, and why does she know about my account? That's alright. I'm a tolerant person, so I'll just pretend I didn't hear you say that. Who made it so that the Reaper communication device supports Line? Or Harasan did, that bastard. So, Ichika is just snooping around. Alright, I got here without getting caught. I just had to put my mind to it. My mind into it. And then she notices something. She's surprised. And this is actually, now for those, now let me stop reading for a sec. This is actually a hollow that appeared. But it's an important hollow. You're going to see in a minute. But anyway, this hollow appeared behind Renji and basically everybody that was around there. It just appeared. So, what's that? Why hasn't anyone noticed it? Father, he yelled it out. Ichigo, why are you... Slashed. Ichigo sees it, chops off the arm, and kills it. As well. Was that a hollow? No way. Why didn't anyone notice it? And I forgot who this was. This was one of the healers next to Isane. Isane was Koetsu. I think that's Koetsu, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. No, I think that's Koetsu. This is Koetsu. Same outfit and everything. That's just what she looks like in 2013. But yeah, so Koetsu was there as a vice captain. Ends up getting hit by the hollow. Get cut, and then 4 hollows show up. Actually, I think is it 4 hollows or is it like 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 5 hollows that pop up. It's crazy. Okay, third. Father, Ichika, father. You idiot, why are you here? I'm sorry, father, I'm sorry. Chops off the head. Hey, these guys don't have a Ryatsu. They're not ordinary hollows. Or strike them at once and spread out. But the hollows used for the ritual are supposed to be captured alive. This isn't a time to be saying that. We can capture hollows after we take these guys out. So, what's this guy's name? I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of his name. Rendo. That's Rendo. Rendo activates his Shikai. It's going to give birth, which basically creates like this this paper chain. And he can create things from that paper chain. He sends out hawks or taka, and you see a bunch of birds just pretty much just flying towards the target, and basically skins the target alive. So this dude is strong. So it's another hollow dead. And then Yaya, she runs up the hollow, creates like a spirit bear. I don't know if this is her Zanbato or if this is just her. But she runs up, creates the spirit bear. Gao chomps the head and chomps off the... Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're not going to show that. When this gets animated, I'm pretty sure they're not going to show that. I'm strongly positive they're not going to show that. So that's crazy. All right. You see, what's his name? I want to say Kita. I could get his name wrong, but he's splashing some type of liquid down at the bottom, One of the hollows try to charge at him. And then he puts a code in 33445588812366. Ron, melt, and the hollow just melts right in front of his face. And then another one appears from above him 7 times. He just cuts him. And there is Kira. He looks different. I wonder if he still has like the little rods still inside his body or whatever the case. But regardless, that's Kira. He appears. Kira, why didn't you quit? Kira, why don't you quit your hobby of patrolling remote regions? It suits me. Both remote regions and arriving late. I'm glad there's strange hollows, but it looks like we got things under control. I'm heading over. If you're in for a scolding once we get back. Now you see these chains pop up out the bottom. If you're familiar with any Bleach movie, you know what those chains are. But anyway, they pop up out the ground. They grab Renji's ankle. You see, it's so lonely. Don't be such a hurry, Abarai Renji. I wanted to see your face on this auspicious day, so I went out of my way to come here. You are Sanzeporo. He's back. Sanzeporo is back. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, that's him. He's emerging pretty much from hell. That's where he's coming from. What? It's just you? I said I wanted to see your face, but that was just an adulation. I don't see that scrawny Quincy, and that mad scientist isn't here either. If I was a person of small caliber, I would take this as an insult. What's with your appearance? Are you dead? This? That's right. I've fallen to hell. What do you mean? Hell is nice. You're unleashed from the yoke of a hollow, and your whole is moved outside of your body. So that's that. Both hatred and pain, like tears, flow outside of your brain. Oh, what's this thing? It's scared. Poor thing. What's wrong? Answer me, Abarai Renji. I'm asking you what that thing is. Well, not that you have to answer me, since the Warden of Hell is all-seeing. Now, I'll start things off by killing your daughter, Abarai Renji. Scattered all that. He sends out chains trying to capture Ichika. Grabs one of the chains, grab Ichika's leg, gets ready to pretty much drag her down to hell. Father, no father. Or that was Renji's leg, excuse me. Then out of nowhere, Ichigo comes, slices the chains. Ichigo, go Renji. I can take Ichika to a safe place. Go Renji, take Ichika to a safe place. You're in my way. Killing you after all this time wouldn't merit me anything, but I'll kill you, Kurosako Ichigo. Who the hell are you? And you see everybody gather around Ukitake's grave, and all the little black bubbles from hell are showing up. So what is this? What is this? Is it not Reishi that won't return to the atmosphere? And Shinsui slices at it, and it sizzles. They say, this is a will-o-wisp from hell. Will-o-wisp? Why is something like that here? Could you all lend your ears to a single superstition? It's been spoken about for a long time in Soul Society, and I believed it to be a superstition as well. There is a word Rei, or the spiritual authority. It is a unit of measurement that is used to be utilized by nobles, and is said to represent the concentration of Ryatsu that resides within Reishi. The average division member has a Rei of grade 20. Vice captains vary between grade 5 and 4, and captains consist of grade 3 and higher. A Soul Reaper's body is made up of Reishi. When they die, their body turns into Reishi and returns to the Earth of Soul Society. But people classified as grade 3 and higher can't do that because their Ryatsu concentration is too high. what allows them to return is this ritual, Soul Funeral Festival. This is what is taught at the Soul Reaper Academy. And what I'm about to say is that the superstition, actually, Reishi of grade 3 and higher cannot return to the Earth of Soul Society no matter what. So what should we do? We can't allow Reishi that too powerful to remain in Soul Society. The Soul Funeral Festival's real purpose is something else. With this ritual, deceased captains are sent down to hell. That's one hell of a reveal. They're sent down to hell. They're sent down to hell. What are you saying? What? I'm telling the truth. Ichigo, grieve, Kurosaki. Don't grieve, Kurosaki Ichigo. You should know that a price must be paid to gain strength. Souls that have lost a place to return to because of the immense power that they sought are saved by sending them down to hell. This is kindness. And unbeknownst to them, the benevolent Soul Reapers have, with their own hands, been sending their comrades down to hell. Is that true, Captain Kuryaku? Have we really? I just realized right now that it might have been true. You cannot believe it. The fact that I've appeared in front of you all, you cannot believe it? The fact that I've appeared in front of all of you is decisive proof. Balance has been broken. The tremendous Ryatsu that was keeping the mouth of the hell in check, Aizen Sosuke disappeared, and right after Yuha vanished, you guys sent tremendous Ryatsu down the hill, one after another, allowing the mouth of hell to be forced open from hellside. The founder of Gotei Yamamoto Guriyasu, Genryusai, the Blade of Death, Unohana Retsu, and today, Shank, somebody stabbed him. You've made an early arrival, Divine Vow. Ukete Jushiro. What are you saying? The ritual is it's finished. You guys just slaughtered those ghouls from hell right in front of Ukitake Jushiro. Wow. I skimmed through this. I didn't read it thoroughly as I'm doing it now. So the ritual was supposed to, so that's why he's in hell right now. Shit. Because they slaughtered hollows in front of Joshuro's grave. And he was already, and he got sent to hell immediately after. So the doors opened up and he skewered Sanzo Opero. Him. I'm getting tongue-tied because I didn't understand the details of it. I read it, but it wasn't clicking until just now. So you guys just slaughtered those ghouls from hell right in front of Ukitake Jushiro. Now I will return, and you guys should think properly. Hell has always been nearby. There's no way you haven't noticed. Haven't you ever wondered why the butterflies that guide Soul Reapers have hell in their name? Then the door shows up right there, and the eyeball starts staring down, and you see Kazui following one of the very butterflies. And this is the beginning of the Jaws of Hell arc that has yet to be determined when it's going to come out. So some pretty crazy things are going to be happening during this. So if you guys want to read this, I will leave the link to description I will leave the link to this manga in the description so you guys can read it for yourselves. But this arc is going to be one hell. So this kind of like answers a lot of questions. What happened to the original Gotei 13? Like, did they just go off and live their lives, or did they just disappear? No, they got sent to hell. So they've been sitting there for like forever. Ukitake we might get his. There's a very high possibility. Ugh, excuse me. Ukitake, there's a very high possibility that we're going to end up getting his Bankai reveal. If you played Bleach Brave Souls, they kind of showed it to you, but we might actually get to see it during this arc. And I hope that we actually get to see the Bankais and the new captains. I know Isune, she revealed her Shikai, but it never revealed exactly what it did. So I hope we get to see that along with her Bankai. This Rindo guy, the vice captain to Iba Squad, I'm actually curious to see more of him because he's interesting, and I like his Zanbato. I want to know if the other. I want to know if Barangon is down there in hell, because I mean I'm pretty sure if Sanza Aparo is down there, I know Barangon got to be down there as well. The reason why I said that is because the rituals may be different for hollows, like they just go down there on their own. Because Soul Reapers, they need to basically kill hollows in order for the Soul Reapers to get sent down. So I don't know. This is gonna be one hell of an arc. No pun intended. It's really gonna be one of those. So it looks like we're gonna see Ichika and Kazui more so in action. I'm wondering if some of the Quincy's are down in hell. That's a question that I would like to see answered. I wonder if some of the Quincy's are down there. Yeah, man, they have a lot to look forward to. There's so many questions that we gotta answer, bro. There's so many things. Like, I wonder if Ukiura is down there. You know what I mean? Like, the more you think about it, the more you start to wonder. Like, you wonder if Ukiura is down there, as strong as he was. You know, all the original Gote 13, that's basically confirmed. They're down there now. I think Aizen is down there, unless he's still trapped in Muken. I think Aizen is down there now. It is a lot. Like, the possibilities are literally endless for what they can do. So I can't wait. But yeah, so again, the link to this is going to be in the description. You guys can check it out. And that about wraps up this episode of Anime Live Chat. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lengthy one, but it was a good one. So thank you guys for watching. Peace. I hope you guys check out the animes that were mentioned. And yeah. See you guys next time for another Anime Live Chat. Remember, be humble in victory, be gracious in defeat, but show no mercy in battle. World Warriors Collective, I'm out.